How y'all doing? How y'all doing? We're gonna try to get started here. What's good? How y'all doing? Hope everyone's doing well. Um, we're gonna try to get started. Hopefully the baby's asleep, going to sleep. So if I have to step out, that's where I'm going real quick. Um, but today we're gonna talk about cover two Tampa, um, two deep, three deep, however you want to classify it. Five under, two deep, three deep, four under, um, whatever that may be. So, for those who don't know, my name is Jaron Horton. Um, I've been a defensive coordinator in the FBS, in the USFL. I was the 2023 Assistant Coach of the Year with the Pittsburgh Maulers. I've been in the SEC, been in the NFL. Um, that's a little bit about my history. Like I said, we're going to talk Tampa today. In 2023, we were a pretty high rate of Tampa. We were able to stop the run with Tampa. Part of that being because we were an odd front defense, so that definitely helped. But we're gonna look at some clips and we're gonna definitely see the weak points of Tampa and we're gonna see the strengths of Tampa. And we're gonna show how we can stop the run in Tampa. It's not gonna be a great call every down against the run, but you can still stop the run in Tampa, and we're gonna try to see that today. Um, but first, I want to say I was able to get a computer yesterday, I guess. So when that gets here in like the next week or two, maybe we'll be able to step the volume or the production quality, I guess, of the stream up. So I'm excited for that. I'm really excited for that. And then there's some other stuff that's been happening. I don't know if anyone else watched the United States men's national team game yesterday. Was unfortunate that we weren't able to win and advance in the Copa America, especially being in America, being in the United States. That was a bummer. And I mean, for me personally, being a coach, I'm not one to call for coaches to get fired because it sucks. Like, I've been fired before, and sometimes it's your fault, sometimes it's not your fault. So like, I don't want coaches to get fired and all that, but the state of United States men's soccer, something's got to change. We got too much talent to not make it out of that group. And I'm not saying that anyone's a bad coach. I'm not saying Berhalter's a bad coach, but he has damn sure underachieved. And as a coach in sports, you're judged off wins and losses, and he has underachieved with the talent that we have on that team. So I just wanted to say that and kind of put it out there. But I don't know who the United States men's team can get, but I don't think we can keep doing the same thing. I really don't, but we'll see what happens. All right, so first, when we talk about Tampa, we're going to look at, this is just like we're installing Tampa. It's really simple when we're talking Tampa. You're going to have two squat corners, cloud corners, however you want to call those guys. Like we said, terminology is not really that big of a deal, but we're going to have two cloud corners, squat corners that are going to be playing reroute one and basically playing anything to the flat. Typically, you're going to have those guys somewhere 4 or 5 yards. Probably don't want to press them just because it can get difficult for them to get reads when they're pressed. I like 5 yards, 4 yards. We tell our corners to play off at 7 in normal defense. So they can start at 7 and kind of walk up to 5, walk up to 4 by the snap when the ball is snapped, and it's a good kind of middle ground where they can still get hands on the receiver, and especially when you're in professional football where you can't have any contact past 5 yards. That's why you want them to get at 5 or 4 yards, so they're not going to get any illegal contact penalties. If you're in college, if you're in high school and they don't have that, you could have them a little bit deeper, but at the same time, they still got to be able to play the flat and get in on the run. So you have your two squat corners. They're going to line up on one. They want to funnel everything inside or get a really good jam on that receiver and force him to go flat and widen his release. Appreciate that. Yeah, man, take the notes. And if you have any questions, just shoot them, and I will answer everything. And then, so the squat corners, they got to be physical. Tampa's a really good defense if you have physical corners and you have like corners that have length. Like we're going to see on film, Keith Gibson, we've talked about him before. He's a longer, bigger corner. He's like 6'2", 200, somewhere around there. So having those type of profile guys definitely helps when you're trying to play Tampa. And then you're always going to have two, whatever you want to call them, poach players. These two guys are going to really be on a string. And they're playing off of two. They should line up inside of two. And they really want to be in between 2 and 3 if 3 is on their side. And they're playing quarterback's eyes. So they're going to get depth, kind of feel the routes, read the routes, and depending on the down and distance, you probably want to be somewhere between 7 and 12 yards. If it's getting to 3rd and 12 plus, they can get a little bit deeper, but that you kind of want to live in that 6 to 12 yard area. And you don't want to expand too much because you have a squat corner out there. You don't want to go too far across the field, but you really want to just kind of relate to the routes. Relate to 2. If 2 goes under right now, you just let them go under. If someone goes out real quick, let them go out and then really get depth because if someone's out, someone's probably behind. So those guys are true zone vision players. And then you're going to have a middle runner, and he should always open to speed, whether that's a 2x2 formation or a 3x1 formation. He should always open to speed. And really, this is where a lot of teaching can kind of change with the middle runner guy. If how we teach it, if 2 is vertical and 1 is vertical, then he's going to stay vertical. If one of these guys sits down, then he's going to sit down and then get his eyes back across the field. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we get to the film because we have some good clips of middle runner. But as long as he's getting verticals by 2 or more people, he should stay vertical because we don't have people to cover all these verticals. And that was something that I said the other day is every coverage we want to figure out how we are going to handle 4 verticals. And Tampa isn't the best call for 4 verticals, but you can handle it. It's going to be a little airy, but you can be able to handle it. And that's where the backside poach player comes in, and we'll talk about that. And then the other thing that when you get triple seam, 3 verticals, it just depends on how you want this middle runner to handle it. Some people will have him try to stay on 3. Some people will have him push through to 2. I like him to push through to 2 because usually 3 bends. And like I said, we'll talk about that. So that's basic install. The front, you can run a 4 down front. You can run a 3 down front and drop a guy to be a spy or like a low hole player to kind of get this zone occupied. A lot of times people will run Tampa like that with a 3-man rush and kind of drop that guy a little bit, be in that low hole so they can't just complete mesh on you all day. They can't complete these unders right here and catch the ball for 5, 6, 7, 8 yards. But if you want to get a 4-man rush, you're just going to avoid that zone and know that that's going to be a catch. Because when you're calling Tampa, they're going to catch the ball underneath, and that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to make them check the ball down. Don't get beat over the top. So let me pull this film up real quick. All right. I still don't even think that this computer can handle that little cutscene. But hopefully, once we get this new computer in, that shouldn't be a problem. All right. So we're gonna kind of just hop around a little bit, looking at film. Um, but we got the notes down at the bottom. Let me see here. Cool. So we got the notes down here at the bottom. It's going to tell us what we're going to look at. Obviously, the call. Tight Will is our front. Tight is our front. Will is setting this guy. He's the fourth rusher. 52 Tampa is the call, right? We're playing Tampa. 52 is just a way for the computer systems to get it all set up and recognized. Down and distance, all that stuff's up here. Yard, field position. Offensive information's up in the top left. All right, so here we're playing Tampa, and we're gonna look at the backside poach. All right, this is a 2-by-2 formation. You got one receiver, two receivers. We're gonna say this is the passing strength to the left side of the field because it's 11 personnel, one running back, one tight end. These two guys right here, and we want to take the passing strength to the two receivers. All right, so here they're running what we call touchdown check down, or just 4 verticals. And sometimes there are unwritten rules in football. And one of the unwritten rules is they want to throw the seam ball to 2 weak 18 to 22 yards on the hash. Or really in these hashes, 2 yards outside the hash. In college, it'll be on the hash. So, with that being said, we have to tell now our backside poach player that's a hole in the defense because the half field safeties, they're getting to 1. They need to get to 1's inside shoulder. That's their coaching point. I don't necessarily like to use yard, like field landmarks. I like to use like man player landmarks. I want them to get to the inside shoulder of 1. So that means if 1 runs a dig, I don't want them just out here in space. I want them to drive the dig, drive that infield shoulder. And then now if he runs like a dig and up, then they should be driving the infield shoulder, so he should run right into them. And I'll take a 15-yard pass interference over a 80-yard touchdown. But the reason that I don't want them just going to landmarks is I don't want like a big post and then him just to be out here in space in the middle of nowhere and them to just throw this ball in. I want him to be on that infield shoulder, or on that, infield shoulder, inside shoulder. All right. So what we're saying now is typically we said these poach players, they want to be in that 5 to 7, or I'm sorry, really 6 to 12 yard area. So if the ball's on the 17, that's about right here to right here in this area for this guy, and this area for this guy. That's the area that we want those guys in. All right, for all intents and purposes. Don't get too wide. Don't really cross the hash. That's the area that you should live in. But now we're saying is this ball is usually 18 to 22, 2 yards outside the hash. It's 10, 15. It should come down right around here. Maybe a little bit towards closer to the hash, but around that area. That's where they want to throw that ball. All right. And you can see here we get a sack, but Tez does a really good job of being in this window because that's where they want this ball to go, right around this area. We get a sack here, obviously, but that's a really good job. He's getting his depth, and he feels this guy going vertical. He doesn't really need to look at him, but he feels it. So he's going to flip his hips perfectly back towards the quarterback. We don't want him to man turn. We want him to zone turn back to the quarterback and really get in this window to now if they do try to throw this ball, it has to have some air under it. And you can see right here in the corner, this is our half field safety, right? And if that ball has air coming from the quarterback, then he's going to be able to make that play. He's going to either get a PBU, an INT, or something. They shouldn't be able to complete that if he does a good job of getting enough depth. But here you can see he's at about 7 yards because he's not responsible to carry this vertical. He's 5 yards deeper than Bryce is. He's our strong poach. He's our weak poach. And he's a lot deeper because we have our middle runner running with 2 strong, right? That's a good look at what we want the middle runner to do. He's going to turn, like we said. If we get all these verticals, the middle runner is going to run until one of these guys sits down. This is the hardest concept to cover in Tampa. He's in the middle right here. He really needs to do a good job of getting in this window, all right? And that's not an easy ask. It's going to take reps, and it's going to take multiple reps, multiple weeks, and unless you just have a guy that's natural at it, it's going to take a little bit. And Tez did a really good job right there, flipping his hips and getting underneath that guy. We ran this a fair amount in 2022, and we had to correct it. And this is week 1 of 2023, and Tez does a perfect job. Obviously, it doesn't hurt that Olive just wins and gets a great play. We'll see that from the end zone copy. It's a lot of celebration. All right, let's watch Olive now. All right, so obviously here we're in our 3 down front where we're head up, and head up, and then this is our 4th rusher. So really he's here. He should go this way, and he should go to contain on pass. But like right now, it started as a 3 down front, but now it's just really a 4 down front. Like he's your 3 technique and he's your 1 technique. So it's all the same thing. I mean, it's not in the run game, but in the pass game it's similar. So Olive has a 2-way go on the guard here because he is the 3 technique. And he wins inside clearly and gets a sack. That's really nice. Works the hands. Ooh. That's a nice rep. All right, so now we're looking once again at Tampa. Obviously, this whole thing is going to be Tampa. We want to force the check down. We want to play deep to shallow, force the check down. That's the whole concept of Tampa is don't let them get this shot, make them throw this one out here or this one right here, and then make the tackle. If you're going to play Tampa all game, the quarterback's probably going to have a high completion percentage, which is fine. If they complete 18 to 20 passes, but they have 100 yards and they can't score touchdowns, then you'll be all right as long as you can score points on offense. All right, so here we can see this is a hole in the coverage. Like if he throws this right now, he's going to catch it, and it's going to be 3rd and 4. That's fine. Like if they catch underneath passes in Tampa, cool. Like let them. Like that's completely fine. We don't want him to hit is this slot fade right here and then this dig. So Ruben can stay right here, and he does a good job. Like he's not going to bite the cheese at this underneath one. He's going to stay right here. Tez in this picture, he's our middle runner. And we said if 2 or more guys are vertical, then he has to stay vertical. But if both in this situation, since it's 3-by-1, if both of these guys sit down, then he's going to sit down. And he does a perfect job. All right? He's no longer vertical. He's clearly no longer vertical. He doesn't need to stay vertical to run with this guy because that's 1. The safety has him. All right, so that's how we have Tampa built. All right, he can sit down. He doesn't need to chase this guy, but he can just sit right here. And it really turns into like 3 under now. 3 of these guys all just kind of eyes on quarterback. But you can see right here, when the ball's out right now, he's breaking. Like we have all of these guys now. If you're a good tackling team and you have guys that'll run to the ball, then shoot, you'll be fine. All right, this is 2nd and 9. This is our cloud corner and our poach player, and they got 2 yards. So it's 3rd and 7, and that's a win for us on defense. 3rd and 7, we should win that. And we'll take that every day of the week. We'll take that all day. All right, here's another look at it. We're playing whatever the front is, and we're playing Tampa. So here's our poach. He could scoot out just a little bit, but he's all right. He should open this way. No, he's playing poach right here. Half field safety, cloud corner, cloud corner. All right, here you can see he kind of opens up to this guy just to get enough width, which I'm not mad about, just to get a peek over here. But now you can see, now he's getting his eyes back to the quarterback, which is good. Bryce down here, he's got his eyes on the quarterback the entire time because he was initially closer to his coverage, because Tez still really has run responsibility. I want him to open up, like really flip his hips and open up, because he needs to see really this guy sit down. He ends up fine because he sits down, but I want him to actually look out here and confirm. All right, so here you can see our half field safety. When his one sits down, he's really starting to drive. He's still getting pressed vertical, so he's still going to be pedaling a little bit. But you can see he's still inside shoulder of one, and he is inside shoulder of one. So that's a good look at how we want those safeties. Like, we don't necessarily tell him, you need to be 2 yards outside the numbers. Like, because if he's 2 yards outside the numbers and his one is inside, that's not what we want. We want him to really be in relation to the receiver, because we can just cover space, but if no one goes into that space, then we're just covering empty grass, and we don't need anybody there. The referee can cover that empty grass. All right, force the check down, make the tackle. All right, like we said, they're going to complete the ball in Tampa, and they're going to get some yards, which is fine. This is 1st and 10. They completed the ball and got 6 yards. Okay, like, that's a little bit more than we want them to get, but at the same time, it's Tampa. Like, they're going to complete the ball. And eventually the quarterback's going to get, like, he's going to want to throw the ball deep. And when he does that, that's when we have to make our play. All right, so we talked about the safety wants to be inside of one. So here they run a post wheel. This is his one. He's going to see that as his one, so he's going to take that. So our corner, our flat player, he needs to take the wheel of 2. Anything through his zone, he needs to take. And here we get a good look at that from Mark. We get a really good look at taking the wheel through my zone. Like, this is awesome. He just needs to finish it. He led the USFL in interceptions, and he dropped at least 3. He could have just ran away with it, because he should have this one. All right, this is a really good look at it. All right, you can see Malcolm, right? That's his one. He's got to take that, because no one is over here, because Tarp's getting it over. That's his one. Tarp has to take that. How we teach Tampa. I'm not saying that this is the only way to teach Tampa, but like I said, we teach our coverages a little bit more man match like type. You can just be true zone coverage, and that might, like, depending on what offenses you're playing and the quarterbacks that you're playing, that might work for you. Like, if you're running true zone and these guys are like landmark guys, then this is going to eventually go to this guy, and this guy really needs to go to whoever our poach player is, or our middle runner or backside poach, or this guy. All right, but in this situation, it's hard run action, and this was a big boot team and a big run team. All right, because they had Darius Victor, who was all-pro running back, I think 2 years, and I think he was the offensive player of the year in 2022. Like, he was a hell of a running back, and DeAndre was a good running quarterback. So, like, they ran the hell out of the ball. So that's why you see both Ruben and Tez bite up on the run, because they've run the ball a lot. So we have our safeties now. You got to take that guy, and you got to take this guy. It worked for us because of how we were built. It might not work for everybody. But this is a really good job, like we said. anybody that's responsible for the flat in any defense, whether that's cover 3. If you're the flat player, you have to take the wheel. You have to take 2 through your zone on the wheel. If it's cover 4 and you're the short quarters player, in my terminology, and you get a wheel of 2 or a wheel of 3, 2 through your zone, you got to take that guy on the wheel. Cloud corner, it's no different. If someone goes through your zone and then vertical, you have to take that. That's just how the flat player has to work. And then Bryce does a really good job here of understanding the concept, knowing his bootleg, and knowing when he gets a wide to the flat, usually someone's going to take this guy out so that they can complete this check down. Because Bryce is a really smart football player, so he understands offensive concepts. But that's a good look at it. Like, he probably should have thrown it here, because, this guy's open. Bryce maybe would flip his hips and, like, he would make the tackle on that guy probably. He would eventually make the tackle, but they would complete that. Like, I'm not saying that they're not going to complete passes in Tampa. Like I said, they are going to complete passes in Tampa. But you hope that they do this and force something and guy makes a play. Like we said, Mark needs to make that. He made a lot of those plays, but he can make that one. Like you can see, the hard run action, that's really nice from Nas. This is what we're saying. It's really hard for this head-up guy to block that guy in the B gap. That's why we like the odd defense. Because if this is a run, it's stopped. Yeah, you got to make that play. Come on, Mark. All right, so now we're talking about triple seam. So this is 3 verticals. 4 verticals out of 3x1. All right, now how we teach it, we said he's inside of 1. He's inside of 1. He doesn't have any vertical carry. We push him through 3 to 2. And now he needs to be more depth to help with this one. But that's the whole. Especially how they run it in this situation, because it's almost the end of half. He keeps it really vertical, so they're like in the same area. But we need our weak poach player to get a lot of depth. Usually this guy is going to bend it over here. Like, this is a weird way that they're getting to it. It just is. And it's probably because Tez pushes through him and he kind of gets knocked off. Ideally, he would bend it back over this way, but it worked out for them. I don't even know that the quarterback was throwing to this guy. I think he was trying to throw to him, and it just worked out for him because they're in the same spot. But I really would love him to keep pushing through and stay vertical. And then, but like I said, it's not a great 4 verts call. You have to kind of, I don't want to say like bastardize it, but you have to make it so he understands that I do have some sort of vertical responsibility. I'm not like a true QBI player, how we teach it. He needs to get some depth. But they convert it, they tackle it. They didn't end up scoring points here, so it worked out. But like I said, they're going to catch the ball. And in Tampa, that's going to happen. All right, so here we're looking at another rep of it. This is a good look of getting like what people call a China concept. 1 sitting down and 2's running like some sort of corner route. Here they're running switch verticals kind of. But our corner up here does a good job playing high to low. Make them throw the check down. Don't let them throw this one for a touchdown. He does a good job. We should bracket this guy. So that's a really good picture right there. Because if he does try to throw that ball, then Mark's going to pick it off. Tez does a good job now of realizing Tarp is gone. So it kind of turns into man a little bit. Like it's a scramble drill. Down here at the bottom, they switch. Same thing. He's going to play below and he's going to play above that one. and he's going to play below, and then he's going to play above this one. This is a good look. Like, this is a really good look at how this coverage should look. He's going to push to this one. He's going to be on top. He's going to be underneath. He is now like our true zone player. Our strong poach player. He is really the one guy on the field that's a true zone QBI guy. He's got to kind of worry about this guy when he goes up there. But this is how we want it to look. You have to figure out how you're going to cover 4 verticals, or else they're gonna hit you. Here they scramble, obviously. We just got to keep contained. We slip, unfortunately. All right, and then the other thing that you will get a lot of in Tampa, and that's why it's important to have an aggressive corner, is they'll count the numbers. And they see, okay, he just blocks him, throw the bubble, and we got one-on-one with a deep safety. The numbers tell the offense to throw the ball out here. And that's the correct read. So sometimes you got to have a guy that's just going to win. And Keith was really good at this. And so was Mark, because we'll see Mark a few times too. But Keith, he wasn't going to get blocked by a receiver here. Like, that's how you need your cloud corners to play. He said, no, I'm not going to get blocked by this guy. And that's a 4-yard TFL. But for them, they're reading this guy. He's hard in on the run because he's got to. He's got to fit right there off the edge. So the quarterback's 100% correct in his read. Like, 1,000%. Every time he should throw the ball out here. That's why you need guys to win their one-on-one matchup. Because if he gets blocked, it's going to be a completion, and then it's going to be a really hard open field tackle for that safety. Like, that's just a fact of life. So having corners that are going to be not as aggressive in block destruction, Tampa might not be the best call for you. You got to have corners that are going to be aggressive. That's going to help you a lot, because then you're going to get plays like this where the offense did everything right. It's a called run with an RPO. The quarterback sees the overhang player in Bryce. He sees him in the box fitting the run. My read is throw it out here. And he does, and the guy just wins. Like, you're going to need guys to win. And while we're on the concept of the run, he's fitting right here. He's here. He's our middle runner. He's there. A to A, B, here. So, like, we're still gapped out, right? Everything that we do, we are gapped out. He, in theory, is going to be a little bit later because he needs to check the pass and then get in. And then he can be a little bit quicker to the run fit. He's the guy that's going to be a little bit late, your middle runner. All right, so we just talked about Keith, who's up here. Now we're going to look at Mark down here at the bottom. Same concept, though, right? Hold on a second. All right, so he's probably not going to throw the ball up here because he's kind of hanging out in this area, right? He's apexing. He's midpointing. Down here, shoot, this is a tight end. You got a corner. You got a linebacker in the box. And you got a safety 10 yards off, about 10 yards, 12 yards off. All right. So, yeah, I'm going to snap the ball. I'm just going to throw it right here. That's the read, right? Don't even do the hand fake. Just catch, turn, throw. That's what he does. But we have an aggressive corner that's not going to get blocked. All right. You need guys to win one-on-ones. He doesn't get blocked, and he makes a TFL. Right? That's a great play. The tight end puts his head down a little bit and helps us out, but that's how it's going to look. And even if he doesn't make the tackle, he needs to make sure that the ball doesn't get outside. He needs to get the ball back inside for him to make the play, for him to come running, and him to make the play. He's the edge of the defense. He's secondary contained. But right here, even if he's still getting blocked, he's got to be aggressive. We've talked about this before. Force the ball. Be aggressive in setting the edge of the defense. All right? Set that edge right there. Don't let this guy get outside of you. Make him cut back up to the teeth of the defense, to all these guys running. That's a great look, right? Have 2 physical corners. That's going to help you immensely in Tampa. Key shows up a lot on tape, but Mark does too. Like, we had corners that bought in and we're going to be aggressive. And, like, Mark isn't the biggest guy. Mark is, I don't know, maybe 180, 185, 190. I'm not positive. Probably 6 foot-ish, somewhere around there. But, like, he's not your big corner. But he defeated the block of a tight end. Like, doesn't have to be a hit stick hit every time. He wraps up. It's a TFL. Like, that's an aggressive play from a corner. I don't need my corners to go be prime Ray Lewis and knock people's heads off. All right, so now we're going to look at it in the run game. Like we said, this guy can be aggressive in the run fit. Our nickel, our true zone guy, he can be really aggressive in the run fit. This is really, really good from Tez, too. Tez had a really good understanding of how we wanted to play defense last year. So like we said, Bryce, our nickels over here, B gap. In this situation, A to A, these 2 guys, here. He's really out here to extra fitter because his 2 is out here. But this is a really good look. Like, Bryce gets in on the fit. We have a lot of extra bodies. Because really now, between him, and him, we only have 2 gaps to take care of. We have this gap, and we have this gap. And we have 3 players for that. If they're running RPOs, it's not a great defense. And we're going to see that in a little bit. Tampa is not a good RPO defense. Because it puts him and him in really bad situations when it's RPOs. And we're going to see that against this team in a little bit. All right, I think we're looking down here at the bottom. We're looking at Keith again. All right, this one, he doesn't truly defeat this guy. I think he ends up making the tackle. But you can see here, he's forcing it. He's still getting blocked, but this guy's not going to cut outside. He's going to cut inside to where he's running, he's coming to the party, he is too. So, like, he's doing an excellent job right here. And I don't know why this guy, he just kind of runs into him. He should probably cut it up. But, like, if he does cut it up, Reuben Foster's coming, Boogie's coming. I think I can't tell. That's either Eli or Tarp. That's Eli coming downhill. Tez, like, yeah, I might run into Keith too and just get tackled. I wouldn't want to get hit by. I mean, that's an intimidating picture if you're a receiver. That's a really intimidating picture. All right, so now we're looking at areas that they're gonna catch the ball. All right, so we do a good job disguising right here. You can't tell if it's cover 3 or whatnot. This guy could be rotating in the middle. He could be coming down here, and that's going back to how we run cover 3. He matches the tight end, right? Because if you're always doing boundary rotation or always doing weak rotation, then this disguise wouldn't make sense unless you're playing man. But this disguise for us works because 3 is over here. So it just works for us. And these 2 guys, Tarp and Bryce, have played together enough football where they understand, like, what each other is trying to do. To now Bryce is outside of 2 where he would be if it was cover 3, and he's down here where he would be if it was cover 3. And then you see when he starts moving, he starts moving. Like, that's a beautiful, beautiful picture. and really him too. He's in on it too because now he's moving out there. But like right now, if I'm a quarterback, how Eli's moving a little bit, he's kind of creeping over here. To now on the snap, we're getting out. Okay, now it's cover 2. But the pre-snap picture didn't scream to the quarterback, oh, they're running Tampa. That's a big part of it too. But right here, this ball, that's going to get caught. The out of 3 is going to get caught. But they tackle the catch. Like, they're going to catch this football. They just are. And you got to live with that. Because he's got to relate to 2. And if he just runs 5 yards, stops, and that ball's timed correctly, he's not going to get there. Unless he's cheating it, then he can get there. But, like, he's just not going to. Sometimes he might, if he knows that this play is coming. If he's like, anytime they come out in 3-by-1, the Y is on the ball and the 2 is off the ball on the hash or on the numbers. Like, there might be some tell to where the offense is running this play. But if you don't have a pre-snap tell, then they're going to complete that ball every time, which is fine. Like we said, they're going to catch the ball in Tampa. They are going to catch the ball in Tampa, and they're going to get yards. Just tackle the catch, and we'll be fine. All right, caught the ball, make the tackle, play the next snap. Like, it's a part of it. All right, so now we're looking at the whole shot, and this is a big thing that people talk about with Tampa. All right, here he needs to play a little bit deeper, but this is another thing. Like, they condense the formation and they run a flat 7 concept where someone's going to control the flat and someone's going to go vertical out here. It's hard for him to get to this route. And even if he plays it well, if this guy's really good, they're going to complete that. And if they do, I'll start calling a different defense. That's fine. I'll call cover 3 or something like that. Or man. Or it's going to be harder for them. He thinks that he's throwing this ball, so he kind of jumps in. He could have a little bit more depth. Like up here, he's doing a little bit better job of playing this up top. We want them to throw this. If they throw that, if they throw this, he'll make the tackle. He can rally and make the tackle. Play deeper to shallow. In a perfect world. But I mean, shoot. They get paid too. They're gonna make catches too. It's not second. Oh, never mind, you can't see that. It's second and 4 up here. But that's a hole. Like, that's a hole in Tampa. The hole shot. That's what they call it. The hole. In between your cloud corner and your deep half safety, this area right here, the hole shot. Typically 18 to 22. All right, so we'll see where this ball comes down. It's probably a little bit shorter. Ball's on the 33, so that's, 5, 10, 15. This is 15 right here. So we'll see where this ball comes down. There it comes down about 15, 16 yards. But that's the area you're talking about. 16 to 20 yards. A good catch, too. He catches that with his hands. That's nice. And here we're going to look at the guys just kind of sitting down, QB eyes. Right here. He's just kind of sitting down. He could get a little bit more depth. He doesn't need to get this deep because he should take this one. So he can just kind of chill out right here. But that's what I'm saying. He doesn't need to be this wide. He can be really right here. He's got him. He doesn't need to go attack the quarterback. He kind of needs to just chill right here because this guy's going to catch this ball. When he goes out, he should zone off, right? So we're not good in this picture, right? How we want it to look is he stays right here. When the quarterback starts scrambling, okay, then you can start to push this way a little bit, but stay in coverage. When this guy goes out, okay, you can kind of sit down right here. Sit in this area. You really don't need to expand that much. You should be right here. The corner should be really in this area. He's going to press over here, and he should really drive this one. So it should look like poach, middle runner, poach, corner, safety, safety. That should be our defensive field spacing, and this corner should be really right where he is. But that's how it should look. Obviously, we don't look like that, but that's how we would like it to look in the perfect world. So, like, shoot, they converted the ball. That's a bummer on that one. That's the thing. They will complete the ball in Tampa. They will complete the ball in Tampa. All right, so MR is middle runner. So that's going to be right here. Ooh, nope. That's going to be right here in this picture. Same thing here, though. This is a good look of, right now, if I'm the quarterback, this does not look like Tampa to me. This looks like cover 3. It looks like single high. The ball's on the hash. He's basically over top of the ball. He's 7 yards-ish, about 7 yards off of 2 weak to where that's where he would line up if it's cover 3. He's playing, looks like he's head up on this guy, which is fair. He could be head up, but it doesn't look like Tampa. Now it kind of does, right? He flips his hips and drops. He gets over here. He gets over here. All right, but this is what we're saying. When he sits down, he can flip his hips and get back. And look this way. All right? So he can flip his hips, and really he needs to check 2 weak to this bender, and then he can help on that one. Because like we said, he's responsible to help, but he's not responsible to like truly carry that guy. He needs to get a little bit more depth. And if he was a little bit quicker, see how he kind of takes that little shuffle right there? If he goes right now and flips his hips and his eyes over here, he sees that guy screaming up the field, then he can go match that and he might get a pick. Because Tez does a really good job here of making it, and really Tarp does too, of making this ball have to be thrown farther this way than he wants it. Because like we said, they want to throw that ball 18 to 22 yards outside, 18 to 22, 2 yards outside the hash. The ball is on the 19, so we're saying that they want to throw this ball basically right here. With how Tarp is playing this, it's really forcing him to bend it more, and it ends up being on this hash and a little bit deeper. But, I mean, that's basically 22 yards because the ball's on the 19. That's 20 yards right there. That's 22, give or take. But that's where that ball is typically going to come down. And that's just, I don't know, that's just football. We're looking down at the bottom. All right, so now what we're saying is he wants to C1. This guy, the middle runner, C1. When one sits down, he needs to sit down. You can see he's kind of looking at it, but he's just too late. Because how we talked about it is, when he sits down, he should sit down, and now the safety should take that guy. But that's a hole too. Like, even if Tez is great on this one, they might still complete this. He could be a little bit deeper, but that's a hole. Tampa is airy. That's the thing. Tampa is airy. So if you face a good quarterback that can get some zip on the ball and throw into tight windows, they're going to complete passes. Just make the tackle play next snap. We would like we said, we would like him to come off on this a little bit quicker and to maybe this ball gets led a little bit and he can make the play. A guy, if you want to see good Tampa technique, Luke Kuechly. I'm sure if you look up Luke Kuechly highlight tape, there's a lot of him being the middle runner on that tape and probably the backside poach. But I'm sure if you watch Luke Kuechly highlight tape, you'll see a bunch of Tampa because when he was there with would have been Ron Rivera, I believe. They ran a lot of Tampa. Is Kuechly? I think he's eligible for the Hall of Fame this year, I believe, or maybe last year. He was a good player. Here we're doing drop spy Tampa, so we get that low hole guy like we were talking about earlier. We're dropping our end to now. I don't know why we called it here because it's 3rd and 10. I don't know why I called that. But like we said, we have a low hole player now to where they can't just complete something underneath and then try to get the first down. All right, here we're looking at a jet sweep. This is a really good job from our cloud corner of seeing run and shooting it. This was also a game plan thing with this guy because the year before it was Cavante Turpin, who plays for the Cowboys now, and they would jet sweep him a lot, and we would shoot the jet sweep. So this is a good look at Keith. I've seen the jet sweep, shooting it. So he shoots it before they can block him, and then Eli does an incredible job of crackery plays here. All right, the ball's on the 49 right here, and watch where Eli makes a tackle. He makes a tackle for our Tampa safety makes a tackle for 3 yards, which is incredible. This is a really nice rep from Eli and Keith too, but that's a really nice rep and a big hit. This was early on the game. This was the 3rd play of the game. And we're fit pretty well. He's got to honor this because he needs to go that way. But that's a hell of a play right there. When you have safeties, and that's the thing, we were blessed. We had really good safeties. We had 4 safeties on our team, and all of those guys could start on any team in this league with Tarp, Bryce, Eli, and Malcolm. All right, we're going to see another hole. I think it's, hold on a second, it's kind of tweaking on me. We're looking at this guy right here. He's just going to sit right here. And like we said, that's going to be a hole in Tampa. Catch, tackle. And if they catch the ball and we tackle it, that's fine. But like you can see, he's open. In football, he's open. That's all right. Catch, tackle. Cool, right? Play the next snap. That little 5-yard stick concept where he's going vertical, he's going out, he's going out. Three out, 3 just kind of running 5 yards, putting his foot in the ground, turning around, catching the ball. Like we said, if that's in timing, and the quarterback's in rhythm, that's going to be a completion. It's all right. You're not calling Tampa to have tight coverage. You're calling Tampa to make them force the check down, and then when they get greedy and they want to take the shot, that's when you make your play. All right, here. So now we're looking at an RPO. But here you can see good disguise, right? Already off rip. To me, that looks like cover 3. He's in the middle of the field. He's playing down here. Here we're doing a different front. We're doing a 3 down front with our 4th rusher off the ball. But that's not really important for what we're talking about. All right, now it looks like Tampa. He goes in and gets in between 2 and 3, and then he gets deep. But like we said, it's not a good RPO defense because he's getting run, he's getting run, he's getting run. It is a run. It's like for offenses, RPOs are called runs. If the defense tells them to run the ball, then they're going to run the ball. But they have the run pass option, right? They have the option to throw it and shoot. Here, the option told him to throw it because he's in on the run. He's in on the run. They're going to complete that, and we just got to make the tackle and get him on the ground. It's not a good RPO defense. Like, I can't be mad at anybody on the defense. This calls on me as a play caller. I called Tampa, and they ran an RPO. Like, that's not on anyone on defense. They got the ball on the ground, so, like, hey, good job. They saved me on that one. All right, it's good for quick underneath concepts. Like, this is what we call 1-2, double slant flat. I think some people call it dragon, maybe. But it's really good for this concept because you have a guy sitting right here, you have a guy sitting right here, guy sitting right here, and a guy sitting right here. So they have nowhere to throw the ball, and they get sacked. It's really good for like these West Coast quick concepts. In 2x2, when they get to 3x1 and they do that three out, that's not good. But for this concept, it's great. Nowhere to throw the ball. Quick concept. Quarterback's got to eat it. 3rd and 8. Because here, they're trying to get in field goal range. They're right on the edge. And they had a good field goal kicker, so they might have still kicked it. But they're just trying to make sure that, hey, let's get a completion real quick. And if we get the first down, great. But if we don't, then we'll kick the field goal because we have a good field goal kicker. But they take the sack. But the other thing is they had a smart quarterback where he doesn't like try to go back and get them out of field goal range. He knows they're in field goal range, so he's going to step up. Instead of taking an 8-yard loss, he takes a 5-yard loss. I don't know what they did there. They might have kicked the field goal. But here, that's a good win. That's a good rep right there. All right, so now we're talking about the poach player. We're really looking at Ruben right here. And the only reason that he doesn't get an interception is because he has a club on his hand. And you can ask Ruben why he had a club on his hand. I won't say that. But here he does a good job of playing QB's eyes. This would have been his first ever INT. He ended up getting one later, but I think since high school he hadn't gotten a pick in college or the NFL. All those great plays at Alabama, no INTs. And that's probably why. No, but like he got one later in the year. But he should have had one here. He does a really good job playing QB's eyes and making the play there. But here you can see he's driving his one, he's driving his one. And that's how we want it to look. Eventually, this would run away from him. And if they have enough time to throw that one all the way across the field, then we got to do something else. Yeah, he could have got the club dub, but he couldn't catch with one hand, unfortunately. Yeah, see, you can see that big-ass club on his hand right there. But here, like we said, the post player, he's doing a really good job of seeing QB's eyes. Boogie gets a nice rush. Olive gets a nice rush, getting him off his spot, making him step up. Boogie's sitting right here. Boogie's probably getting help, but that's neither here nor there. All right, we're getting 4x1 really, 4 strong. He does a good job of expanding just a little bit. Our poach player, just based on the route, he expands just a little bit, which is great. He really needs to push through more, and he can push this way just based on all of these guys are over here. He needs to be aware of this guy if he starts bending back. Really, Tez should be right there. He's here. He's here. But here we do a good job of reacting. This is a completion behind the line of scrimmage. Bryce makes contact at the line of scrimmage. You can see right here. That's the line of scrimmage where Bryce is making the tackle. I think this line is straighter than the line from the VAR last night in that United States-Uruguay match. But we end up getting the ball out right here and getting a turnover. Here we're playing nickel versus 12 for whatever reason. Just want to change it up. I don't know why we did that. Worked out. And then Javi went and got the turnover hammer. Tez is running to the sideline to get the turnover hammer right there. Let's see. That was this one right here. This one, because that was the first game. This was the second game. So it was these stickers, I think. We gave that one to Tez and Nas. I hope that doesn't fall over on me. Come on now. I see you, Malcolm. Ooh, another good one while you're in here, sir. Malcolm right here. All right. We're getting... Oh, wait, never mind. I thought this was a different play. This isn't you. It was in this game, though. But that's the other thing we're talking about with Tampa. We need someone to win. I think this is Boogie that wins on this one. We're saying gap, gap. Really, he's a gap here, here, here. We're gapped out, but he's going to be late because he's got to open the speed. Boogie gets cut out, but he ends up winning because he does a good job of playing downhill and getting the double off of Boogie. And, like, yeah, Boogie gets cut out, but he makes it right. So, like, pre-snap, he's B-gap, he's A-gap. Now all that's happening is he's B-gap, he's A-gap. Stuff happens, and we win. I'm going to try to find Malcolm's play. I think it was on Tampa. It had to have been. All right, we're looking down at the bottom down here. This is a good look at the cloud corner. So, like we said, our cloud corners, we want them to get inside releases, or you flatten that release out. All right, flatten it out to give this guy time to get over there. And he does a really good job of flipping his hips and then making this play right here. That ended up being a good play. That's a good play from a cloud corner. He might could have gotten a pick if he would have looked at the ball, though. That was okay. He was fine. All right, we're going to get another look at the run game. All right, and here we're talking about double teams. This is why we don't like four down as much, because these doubles are already, like, it's easier for them to double. Oh, okay, I see 6. There you go. Inside win. That's a good move. That's a good play from Ruben right there, though. It's a kind of like a draw, I guess. Dropping back and then making the play. Defeating the block. Shoot, that's a nice play. I think they only had 13 yards rushing in this game. They had 13 yards rushing on 13 rushing attempts. They had a yard per carry. All right, so here we're playing Tampa. We're getting pretty good coverage. We had a pretty good beat on them on what concepts they were running and stuff like that. I don't remember them all right now, but I know we did have a pretty good understanding of what they were doing. But here, he wants to throw this ball right here. He's underneath that. Tez needs to get his eyes back this way. He's seeing screen though. But he needs to get his eyes back this way. He's right here. He's underneath this one. If they throw this, he can rally. He can rally. We'll see it later. He makes a tackle on the underneath. But we're really looking at Levi on this one. This is the second time in Tampa that he's just won. So he's our 3 technique here. So he's got a 2-way go on the guard. He can beat the guard that way, or he can beat him back across his face. I think this time he just goes around him. Really good swipe right there. Gets his arm off. Makes him lean. You can see here he's leaning, overextended. Doesn't have his arm, doesn't have his hand on Olive because he swiped it. Olive went... Matches the hand of the quarterback with his left hand. I mean, that right there, I don't know. You can get better than that. And he hits a quarterback. That's a perfect rep right there. All right, so this is what we're talking about. This is the one. One's going to come underneath, and then we're going to react. I think it's a tackle for no yards. One goes underneath. This is our poach player. He's at 10 yards deep right now, which is great. Ruben stepped up on the run a little bit, but then he gets his depth. He's got to get out because he's got vertical carry. He really should get... Yeah, he's fine on this one because he sat down. He's here. He needs to get under for this one, and then he's going to make this play. But like we said, it's 2nd and 7. Our poach player's 12 yards deep, reacts well, makes a play. That's Xavier Lewis right there. Southeastern Louisiana. That's a really nice play too. But that's what we want them to do, right? Tampa, we want them to throw those underneath passes and rally to it. Rally to the underneath pass and make tackle. It looks like that guy's wide open. I mean, he is, in theory, wide open. But look where he gets tackled. He gets tackled for 1 yard on 2nd and 7. When he catches the ball, there's no one within 10 yards of him. He is wide open. Wide open. But he's also at 1 yard down the field. And Xavier makes a great tackle. And Mark is right there as well. And we got Vaughn running. I think that's TB running. I think that's Will running. We got all these guys running to the ball. And that's part of your culture and all of that. You got to have guys that are willing to run to the ball. And if they don't want to run to the ball, then either they don't play or you guys won't be good on defense. All right, now I think they complete this one right here, which is going to be a hole. Like we said, they're going to have holes in Tampa, and they're going to complete the ball. He does a really good job of triggering on that, but there's gonna be holes. This happened to be on 3rd and 10. QB's in rhythm, throws the ball, catch, tackle. That's all right. Like, that's on me. That's on the play call. Because Ruben really isn't gonna. There's nothing telling him to expand out here, and that's really too wide for him. That's just a hole in the zone. You got to live with that. Get out of here with that. I can't ban from here. We got some spam. I don't know how to ban him. I'll ban him later. All right, here we're looking. Ruben on the backside does a good job of getting underneath this one, right? We talked about that one constantly. He does a great job of flipping his hips back over here to get underneath that. Great job, right? Because we're saying 18 to 22 yards, 2 yards outside the hash. Ball's on the 30, so that'd be right around here in this area. And that's where Ruben's going. That's great. This is awesome from Tez, our middle runner, of getting underneath this one because he's got to get over to one, right? This is awesome from Tez. And this is what allowed us to play Tampa. These guys, these underneath guys, had a really good concept for the 18 to 22 yards, and this guy running that. We ran a lot of Tampa, and we got beat a few times on it. There was one in the championship game, unfortunately, that we got beat on 3, or I think 2 or 3 run the over. But at the same time, like, I can't ask Tez to run with a fast receiver all these times. We're going to get hit on it eventually, and we did sometimes. But that's a good job from the cloud corner too, squeezing it. Nothing's taking him out to the flat, so he's going to continue to squeeze this. That's nice. I want to find Malcolm's play. All right, this one's a little bit of a Tampa beater, especially on the run, because he gets bit up and he gets bit up. So this one ends up being wide open. They just missed this one. Because Tez recognizes, oh shoot, I know where they're trying to hit. I know where they're trying to hit us. By rule, he should push through, but he's going to go help out on that one. It's because he knows where the whole of the defense is. And that's what's nice about having smart players, is they can bail you out sometimes, because this is not a good call. He needs to get more depth too. But like, they missed it. And sometimes they just miss throws, but Tez also gets enough depth to help out with that. All right, now this is what we're talking about. Eventually, they're going to get greedy because this guy is wide open. He'll catch the ball and potentially he'll get tackled at the line of scrimmage, but it gives them an option. But he just chucks it deep and we get a pick, right? That's why you run Tampa. Eventually, they're going to make a mistake. And you make them pay when they make their mistake. He gets smoked there, though. I don't know if you saw that guy. But like we said, when they get greedy and they want to take their shot because it's late in the game and they're down by 8 points, they're going to get greedy and they're going to be like, I don't even care. I'm just going to throw the ball deep and try to have someone make a play. He overthrows his receiver by 10 yards, and we had 2 deep safeties, and one of them came down and made the play. Down here at the bottom, great job getting him on the back, getting him back inside on the release. All right, we saw this one coming underneath before. He does a good job of putting his foot in the ground, his left foot in the ground, triggering on that, forcing the PBU. That's really nice from Cloud Corner. He's at about 7 yards right now. Ball's thrown. Ball's at the line of scrimmage. Forces a PBU. Here we go. Here's your play, Malcolm. All right, so we talked about this one. 2 weak, 18 to 22, 2 yards outside the hash. We've beaten that with a dead horse, like a dead horse. Or I don't know how that saying goes. Ball should come down right here. That's 18. That's 22. This is the window you're looking at in that area. I mean, shoot. That's the window, right? That's what we said. That window right there. That's where that ball would come down. Right here. But we get a great pass rush from Malcolm, and Ruben gets his first ever INT. That's rush and coverage working together. Malcolm wins on an inside move right here. He gets doubled. They try to double him. 73 tries to go over and help, but they can't. Gets in the way of the quarterback. He can't follow through on the throw, and allows Ruben to make his play. There, even though he's got the club, he was able to make the play. But that right there is rush and coverage working together. That's where that six sticker came from. Oh, that one got put on there again. All right, now here, this is Tarp. We're in dime right now, and Tarp isn't as used to playing this position. He's used to playing this position, but we're in dime here because it's 3rd and 10, and they're in 10 personnel. 18 to 22 yards, 2 yards outside the hash. 10, 20. So in this area right here, 35-yard line. That's 18 to 22 yards. 2 yards outside the hash. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. That's where that ball's coming down. All right? Like we said, Tarp isn't as used to playing this dime position. He needs to get just a little bit more depth. Because if he gets a little bit more depth, either that ball has to have a little bit more air under it, or he's going to make the play. But there, he needs just and that's what it is. It's a game of small margins. He needs to have just a little bit more depth. It would either allow him to make the play if it was thrown like that, or if it has more air, Eli is going to probably get a PBU. And you can see right there, he's saying, oh, that's my fault. Yeah, whatever. They're going to make plays too. And that's the other thing too. He is not that used to playing that position. He doesn't get as many reps there. Tez and Ruben got a lot more reps there. Tarp maybe only got 1 practice rep at half speed. It's different in a game. But you can see there, that kind of slight hesitation right there. That's all it takes. That right there. And the QB's in rhythm. I mean, shoot, look where that ball is. It's about 22 yards right down the hash. 1 yard outside the hash. I think Josh is a good quarterback. He can make the throws. He doesn't have the biggest arm. He's not going to throw the ball 80 yards down the field, but depending on what you're asking him to do, I think he can be very, very good in this league. And he's a competitor too. I respect the hell out of Josh. All right, here we're looking at Tez as a middle runner. This is a Tampa beater. It's like a mesh, and then he's going to go there. It's either a quarters beater or a Tampa beater. He's going to duck under the short quarters player, the guy on 2, and then he's going to jet down the field. Tez sees it, does a great job. That's where they want to throw the ball. He could get a pick there, but he tries to be Deion Sanders and get a one-handed pick. If he put 2 hands on the ball, he would have had a pick. He could have caught that. All right, we're going to look at Tez again, being the middle runner. Probably on that one. And then Ruben should get underneath this one, so we'll see how it works out. So here he's playing under 3. Sometimes Tez did that. Here it worked out because if he doesn't, then that ball is going to be completed. Tez bailed us out a lot. He just got enough on it. And if he doesn't get there, then Eli's going to, it's going to be a tackle, but they're going to catch the ball. And technically by rule, Tez is wrong there. But, I mean, he was right. I don't know. I don't know why he did that. He just did. But you can see he kind of gets the ball. I don't know how to slow it down. He kind of gets the ball. Just a fingertip on it right there, you can see. Just enough to make the receiver not be able to catch the ball. Some of these are getting put in here twice. Yeah, we saw that one too. We saw this one too. All right, that's the end of the cut up. Yeah, we saw a lot of those. I wonder why that happened. But that's a basic understanding of Tampa. I would say a little bit more than basic. We talked about more than just basic understanding, and we saw where the holes are. Like we saw there, we got beat multiple times on Tampa. They caught the football multiple times, and they're going to catch the football in Tampa. It's about what are you willing to give up, I guess, and what are you like? When are you running Tampa? Are you running Tampa late in the game where you have a lead and you're just trying to keep everything underneath? Hey, that's great. Like that's great. Are you running Tampa as like a every down concept? You can do that if you have guys up front that are great on the D line that can handle double teams, and you have linebackers that are athletic that can run, which we had. We had Ruben and Tez and Dale, which could run and could make plays and cover receivers and do what they needed to do in the pass game. So like I said, we ran Tampa a lot last year, and we stopped the run pretty well in Tampa. We stopped it well enough to where we weren't scared to call Tampa on 1st and 10 and 2nd and 6, and we would call Tampa whenever. And we also had smart guys and guys that knew how to play with each other, and understood offensive concepts. Like, I think Tampa can be a good defense, but you have to have the proper players. Like, you have to have the right guys to run that defense, just like you do with any defense. If you're going to major in cover 3, which we talked about, you got to have a safety that's rangy. He's got to be able to make plays from numbers to numbers. And you got to have another safety that's going to be a bigger guy that is going to be able to fit in the run, like you just do. Those are things that you need when you're playing Tampa. And I think like we said, that's a pretty good look of what Tampa's going to be. And I think we'll probably look at maybe Fire Zone in the next stream. But other than that, that's all we got for today. That was a nice little 90-minute stream, and other than that, that's all I got. So I appreciate y'all for being here. It was fun, and we got to look at some nice film. But I think next stream will be on Thursday around the same time, and I'm looking forward to seeing y'all again. Appreciate it.